Have you ever wondered if the teachings of Jesus that we read in the Bible are the full story, or if more truths might have been revealed since then? In this introduction, we look at the remarkable testimony of James E. Padgett, a respected lawyer who claimed to have received direct messages from the spirit world. He said those messages came from Jesus of Nazareth himself. This isn't a story or a myth. It's a real written testimony by James E. Padgett, dated December 28, 1915. Padgett wasn't a preacher or a mystic or someone chasing strange ideas. He was a lawyer with 35 years of courtroom experience, a man who dealt in facts, not imagination. And yet, after an unusual experience, his life changed completely. This introduction explains how it began. Padgett begins by saying, "I'm a practical lawyer with 35 years of experience. I'm not someone who easily believes things without proof. I grew up in a Methodist church and held the same traditional beliefs for most of my life. But one day, someone told me that I might be psychic. After that, I began receiving messages through automatic writing, messages that claimed to come from the spirit world. Since then, I've received many writings on different subjects, mostly spiritual and religious. They often disagreed with traditional church teachings, especially about the Bible's accuracy." He continues, "Many different spirits have written through me, and among them is Jesus of Nazareth. At first, I refused to believe it. I thought God would never do something like this, even though he could. But over time, the evidence became too strong to ignore. The messages were consistent, the witnesses were many, and the content was far beyond anything I could have invented. Eventually, I had to accept it as true. I believe in these communications as strongly as I've ever believed any fact proven in court. When I write, I don't think ahead or know what's being written. The words come through my hand, not from my mind." Padgett goes on to explain what these messages are for. "Jesus told me that his purpose is to reveal new truths from the Father. He said the Bible doesn't contain all his real teachings, and that many things written about him are not accurate. He wants the world to know these truths clearly, as he gave them while on earth, and many that he never had the chance to reveal until now. Some of these truths are unlike anything I'd ever heard before, even though I've studied the Bible." And with that, James Padgett ends his statement, his first public testimony. This was the personal testimony of James E. Padgett, written in 1915, the beginning of what he called the New Gospel of Jesus. In this series, we'll go through those messages one by one, as Jesus reveals the deeper truths of the Father and what they mean for us today. Wondering how James E. Padgett came to receive messages said to be from Jesus and celestial spirits? Here's the concise first-hand account from the man who published them, Dr. Leslie R. Stone. This foreword summarizes my path to Padgett, why I accepted his mediumship as genuine, and how these writings were prepared. I'm Dr. Leslie R. Stone. After publishing the first volumes of the Messages from Jesus and Celestials in 1940, reader questions led me to set down how James E. Padgett received them and why I'm convinced they are authentic. I was born in 1876 in Aldershot, England, trained in saddlery, emigrated to Canada in 1903, and was drawn into spiritualism after specific evidences about my deceased parents convinced me that spirit communication is real. My studies and experiences continued in Buffalo and Lily Dale. I trained as a nurse, then as a chiropractor, graduating in 1912, and moved to Washington, D.C. In 1914, through the Colburn family, I met James E. Padgett, a sober Methodist lawyer who had begun receiving rapid involuntary automatic writings, initially from his wife Helen, then from higher spirits. I often witnessed these sessions. The writings came too quickly for forethought. Padgett himself read them only after they were done. Helen's early messages shifted from personal notes to spiritual counsel. Progress in the spirit world comes through prayer for the Father's divine love. Soon, messages signed by Jesus and the apostles urged Padgett to pray, purify his soul, and prepare his mind to transmit higher truths, stating plainly that many church doctrines were in error. Over time, the evidence, content, and internal coherence convinced us both. Between 1914 and 1923, Padgett received around 2,500 messages. I devoted my life to publishing them. Stay tuned as we go even deeper in the next message, where we'll uncover more of these profound revelations about how the spirit world works, and how we, as mortals, can better prepare ourselves to receive higher truths. In that lesson, St. John will guide us further on the path of spiritual growth and show us what it truly takes to become a clearer channel for divine love. Don't miss it.